welcome back to the episode of One Monkey Garage. My name is Dylan. In today's episode, we are going to be swapping out the cart that I move and hold the body on. Main reason for doing that is because we are going to be tackling the rust issues on the C3. I know it's a fiberglass body, but it still does have metal, and that metal does rust out on these, and we're going to be tackling that in this episode. Thank you all so much for clicking on the video. If you haven't yet, please go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It really does help. And without further ado, let's tackle this project. Tackling the rotted out floorboards and other rust issues on this Corvette. So as you can tell, we do have two holes here. This is a factory drain hole. This is supposed to be here. This is obviously not supposed to be here. We got a nice big hole right here, you know, how you doing? As well as, this one's hard to see, but if you look right here, there is a actual hole here. It's got, I don't know if that's a fiberglass there or if that's metal. You can see, got some more rot going on right here and right here. I'm gonna go ahead and make the patch panels. I have made a few already, and I'll show you how I made them, how I made my templates, and what I did to make the patch panels. Because you can buy the floor pans for this and you know, spend hundreds of dollars on it. But if you're a decent fabricator, or, you know, even an amateur fabricator, you've got a welder, you know, and you've got some scrap metal laying around that's the correct thickness. That's key here. You don't want to use something that's too thick, because when you try and weld the metals together, you can use so much heat, and this metal is, you know, has had some rust on it. We've cleaned it, but it's had some rust on it. You'll burn through. You want to use the same thickness metal, and that's really the key to getting a good job done. But let me go ahead and show you the patch panels that I've made, and I do have to make one more, and I'll show you actually how I go about making them. Alright, so as I just showed you, this passenger side floor pan is by far the worst floor pan on this Vette. The other ones have small holes and everything, and they're going to be a relatively easy patch to make. However, this one is, I could have justified buying the entire floor, but I knew I can make it. So as you can see right here, this is a piece of metal that I had. It's the correct thickness. I do need to clean it up a little bit. However, that's the pan. That is the patch. It fits perfectly into here. It's a nice tight fit, which is what I want. I will have to work it a little bit to get it in there just right. As you can tell, I've got holes just about every, I don't know, inch and a half. And what I'll do is when I start, I'll make sure that one area is really tight, and I'll weld one or two of the holes, and then use the heat from the welder to help me massage the metal into the tight area that I want. Now how I got to here. This is the final product. It's a little rough and cut, but it's going to do the job. Once I weld it in, use a seam sealer. I don't know if I'm gonna use seam sealer or not. I actually need to do a little research on what the proper material to use to really seal this off. Because the only downfall of me doing it like this is I'm not cutting the floor out, and what that means is I'm gonna have two pieces of metal wedged together, sandwiched together, with spot welds around it. So if water got into the area between it, it would be stuck there, and sitting water will rust it. And I know water will be able to get into it, well, could get into it, not will, because we're going to fix it from getting into it. But these holes right here, when you're driving, water splashing up, it'll be able to get into there. So that's why I have to seal off the outside of it with some kind of seam sealer or other product of that nature. And then from the bottom side, I'm going to have to repair this either with a fiberglass, Bondo, or whatnot. Just something to close that hole so water cannot get between the tight cavity is going to be right here. Also, to prevent rust if water did somehow to get into it, this is a powder coated surface. This metal was powder coated. I did not powder coat it, it's just the metal that I had was a piece of powder coated metal. Also, I have treated the bottom of these floors with a product called Chassis Saver. If you've ever heard of POR 15 or Rust Converter, Rust Bullet, they're all pretty much the same. It's just I've gotten used to and like Chassis Saver. I've used it on all my restoration projects, all the frames, undersides, and it's just a great product. It locks in rust and it seals it. I've been using it for about 7 years now and I love it. So that'll protect this metal from further rust and from future rust, so that when we weld this on, we don't have to worry about the floors giving out anymore. So like I said, to get to here, you want to use cardboard. I use thinner cardboard if I can, because it's just easier to work with. So you want to cut, whatever you think you're going to need, cut the piece of cardboard bigger first. And then set it in and slowly trim it to make it fit into the area you want it to. A few little tricks and everything for these tight corners and stuff. Like the way I got this from I got to here from cardboard is cut a little slit right here. That way these two move independently, so that you can fold this over and you make your little bend, and you can open it and close it as much as you need. And then once you have the proper angle you want, just pull it out like that, and then you can staple it, tape it, or whatever, and that'll give you the shape you need. And then I prefer taping it because then you can undo it, cut your rectangular piece of metal, cut it out enough so you have that slit, and then you can fold it over and do your final massaging when it goes in. So once it goes in, it's not gonna look like that. It's gonna be very rigid and very crude looking. Take a hammer. I call this a tennis hammer. It's got a point and then a regular hammer at the end. Also, a ball point is a really good tool to use. And make sure it's tight on the bottom and just massage it into place until it forms to the piece of metal that forms to the floor. And like I said, once you start welding it and you get heat into it, you'll be able to move the metal more as metal gets more fluid-like as heat enters it. But this patch panel is done, needs to be installed. Let me show you the other ones I have made. So this back area right here, so that will go in just like that. It'll get welded all the way around, and then it'll get a seam sealer coat. You got to remember, this is the floor, and it's going to be covered by insulation as well as carpet, so you won't see it. The whole goal here is to prevent water from getting in. Right here, because we have the bottom as well as the side, I had to make this patch in 2 pieces. So the way it works is I have this one piece right here, and then I have this piece right here. All right, so I've got this piece right here, and this is gonna go on the side of that crevice down there that had the bottom and the side rotted out, as you can tell, there's a lip right here. So what we're gonna do before it goes into the car is we're gonna take these two and put them together the best we can. And we're going to tack it in about 5 or 6 places. Now these aren't going to be little baby tacks. These need to be pretty beefy tacks, maybe even just slight little beads ran across so that I can set it in there and then use the hammer again to kind of bend this out as needed and form this into how I need it to be formed. Once I have this formed the way I need to and it fits in there nice and I'm happy with the fitment and everything, I'm gonna go ahead and clean the metal and weld it in for the final place. But because of the two-sided way, you need to make a piece that's two-sided, and the easiest way to do that is to make 2 individual pieces, put a lip, put them together, not completely, but pretty tightly, and then you can form them as this metal will bend and flex as it gets heat in it, and it will be a little more fluid. I need to now go ahead and make the last patch for the driver's side front where I showed you had those 2 pocket holes. So I'll throw you all on a time lapse and show you, the process of it. So here is the rough outline and patch panel for these 2 holes right here. You might be asking, why is this so big? The holes are only in an area that's probably 2 inch by 3 inch. The reason that I made the patch panel as big as I did is because I know that I'm going to have good metal where I'm going to be welding it. So if I were to just make it right here, this little area right here where the 2 holes actually are, there's a good chance that that metal is also pretty weak. And I'm just going to, as soon as you tack it with the welder, it's just going to burn right through. And then you've got more holes and more issues. Having it come up this hump right here and knowing this metal is good metal, I know that I can put a bead all the way down this top edge, all the way down this edge right here. I know it's going to penetrate, I know it's going to bond, and I'm going to have a solid weld. Same thing with the top and all 4 sides. I know there's good metal out here to weld to. Once this is welded in, just like the driver's side floor, even though I'm planning on welding the majority of this up all the way around, I am going to go ahead and put a layer of some kind of panel bond or whatnot when I know what I'm going to use after I do some more research on the best product to use for this application. I will let y'all know and I'll show you the process of applying that. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get this welded up. Alright, now she's gonna be warm, but I should be able to set it in there kind of like so. Alright, now I can tell right now that I need to bend this out a little bit. So I'm gonna take it back to the vise and go ahead and take care of that. Alrighty, so that's pretty close to where we want it. Now the massaging comes in. Bended it all up, kind of massaged it how I wanted it a little bit on the vise. Now I'm just going to kind of hold it in place. Get that angle where I want it. Bend that a bit more down. Like I said, it's just a work in progress, guys. You just gotta take your time, watch your fingers with hammers, and just massage it in. Alright, so it's not perfectly flat there, but if I push it down, it does make contact, and that's key, because what we'll do, when you hit that spot, you'll hold it down, buzz that right on in, same thing, buzz that right on in, and it will slowly pull it all together. But let's go back and finish up the welding on this. I'm gonna lower the heat because I could tell that I'm getting burnt through a little bit, and get that taken care of there. I'm gonna flip it over, and I'm also gonna put a bead there just for good measure. So all the prep work for the body panels is now complete. All the edges around the metal have been grinded down where any of the welding is going to take place. Got a light right here for y'all. Same thing with the floor. Anywhere that's going to be welded has been ground down with a flap disc. Alright, well last night my dad was able to weld in all the patch panels, so all the patches are installed. They're not finished yet though. I still have to seam sealer and fiberglass them from the bottom to make sure they're watertight. But I'll go ahead and show you what all was finished last night. Passenger, driver side floor patching, the rear and the back. So all the patches are in. Like I said, they need to be sealed off. All that will be in the next video though. Thank y'all so much for tuning in and watching. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and like, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get notifications every time I post a new video. Thank you again, guys. Have a great day.